Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. You can only be here for one reason. It's a brand new episode of Major Previews, where we look into the solicitations, we look into the future, we open our third mind and try to establish which issues coming to comic shops around the world will be the ones you guys should be on the lookouts for. Talking about the latest and greatest each and every month, and this month we're smack dab in June. This episode's coming out a little bit late, but can you believe half the year is over already? As always, I am joined.
It is me, Alex Garcia, aka The Cog. I'm always excited for previews, even if we are a little bit late, because guys, we always want to bring you our picks because we want you guys talking. We want you guys aware of the greatness that is coming out this month on those fantastic Wednesdays that we all look forward to. And we got to let you guys know what we're excited for. Let us know what you're excited for, so that way we can make sure that even when that glorious MCU and that DCEU thing that's out there and all those other projects that come out on our screens are failing us, we still have this beautiful plethora of comic books to delve into every week. It's an awesome thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're hearing all that. I've seen there's been some trailers recently that don't have me super excited about the future of certain comic book properties.
You're
We've
not
heard
excited?
No, we've heard certain things about Sony wanting on purpose to use AI to expedite some of their production when it comes to that kind of stuff. Marvel is talking about more quality and less quantity, but to do so, they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board with a lot of what they're dealing with over there, especially if any of that stuff was tied to the Kang and Jonathan Majors of it all. So it feels like comic book media in general is in a very weird position where it's really trying to dot the T's and cross the I's and tighten the screws of what was once a unstoppable juggernaut. Right now, no studio wants to put money in something that they can't 100% guarantee they're going to get their money back on. So I have a feeling that those same studios will be looking very closely at things like what we're doing right here, right now, because they're going to try to pull from some of the latest and greatest stories to come to comic books and comic book media to create the new stories and things like the MCU, the DCU, and vice versa. So we should get right in, let everyone know, because I know Amy Pascal's watching, I know Kevin Feige's watching, I know David Zaslav's on. What up, David? So let's give these guys our picks for June. And I would like to start off because I'm
Helmets?
super excited. We were talking a little bit about the return of Elseworlds as part of the Major Issues podcast, and especially as part of Comic Book Click, just putting out some news out there. On June 11th, we're getting Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, number one. Gotham by Gaslight is, if not the first, one of the earliest Elseworld stories
Mm-hmm.
told
Yes,
under
it
the
was.
DC banner, right?
Yes, it was.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this is its big sequel. Talk about some big shoes to fill because
Yeah.
this was very well done when it was originally done. I believe by Mike Mignola and Brian Augustin. Uh,
Yes.
and so, uh, like, I just think of that art. I love Mike Mignola's how he how he creates characters and stuff like that.
He
Um,
has a very distinct style. Like
yeah,
you almost you can't tell me when you're not looking at Mike Mignola, you don't know you're looking at him. So it's very distinct, long lasting. He's been in the business forever, and
yeah,
I believe this predates his Hellboy.
yeah. Yeah, and again, his aesthetic just really works for like the steampunk or like the
Definitely.
older generation stuff. I think of Lobster Johnson, right, with his goggles and his like old
Yeah.
military jacket and
Yep.
stuff. But yeah, we're getting a sequel to the classic Gotham. I mean, Gotham by Gaslight, and it's supposed to sort of introduce that universe's Superman to
Yeah.
and what does that mean to a guy all the way in the 19th century? We're in the 1800s dealing with with this Batman, and we already kind of saw the unique takes that it had on certain members of his rogues gallery, his costume in general. I always just think about the not blacking of the eyes. It's just it's just like a cloth, and they
Yeah.
came out with a movie adaptation of it not too long ago.
Oh,
DC
really?
animated.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. I got to
DC
check that
animated movie
out.
adaptation.
I
So
definitely.
The original blazed the trail. The original is why Elseworlds exists. Where do you how big of a swing is this, I guess is what I'm asking you. This is coming from Andy Diggle with artist Leandro Fernandez. But yeah, how big of shoes does this have to fill to be seen
I
on the same level as its original?
I think it's a huge shoes to fill, especially the fact that none of the original team is coming back.
Right?
I mean, Brian Augustin. No offense to him, is not a name that outside of this book you don't know of. So everybody really remembers this for the art, Mike Mignola. So the fact that you're not even getting him back on this book better be good. It better be
Yeah.
good, and not to doubt the creators of this, Andy Diggle and Leandro Fernandez. Great team, great team. You put that team on pretty much any other kind of book, and it's got hype. But you throw this title on it, and then it's just like, okay, like you said, you got big shoes to fill now. So I've seen some of the preview pages. It looks beautiful. It looks to fit that same aesthetic of that gas the
Gotham by Gaslight?
steampunk yes
Yeah.
that steampunk aesthetic. It fits that. It looks like it's gonna like it makes me feel like I am back in that world. And Andy Diggle, guy whose Daredevil run I loved, his run on Thunderbolts. I believe he wrote Losers, which was a great movie,
It
and
was
with
a great movie.
a lot of people, which a lot of people don't realize was a comic book.
100%.
So so I do believe this is a solid team to get this done, and I do look forward to seeing what they can do in this world. So bringing back this world, this is really DC looking back on what made it great, because they're not selling like they used to, but they have had a lot of good ideas come about recently. Bringing back Elseworlds, this whole big event they got going on in the Superman books, that looks really cool, and everything that's
Yeah.
building up around Amanda Waller. So DC is trying to reinvigorate itself. I think both Marvel and DC are really reinvigorating themselves, and I do believe a big part of that is, like you mentioned, the fact that the movie worlds are failing,
Yeah.
because now they don't have the movies dictating to them, hey, you got to catch up to us, or you got to change this person's costume or this person's look based on movies.
Right.
Now no one's telling them these things, because Marvel's not pumping out anything. The DC universe is the movie universe is pretty much dead until it's fully resurrected by um help me out, by James Gunn,
James
by
Gunn.
James Gunn, by
Yeah.
James Gunn. So in the meantime, now the writers and the creators can just do what they do best, and that's create. That's
Yeah.
create. Whether it's diving back into a world like this, or just telling stories that now they can break the handcuffs on, because now they don't have to worry about, well, we can't do that because this movie's coming out that's going to tell us that we have to somehow get that character to be like the movie character. Now they
Yeah.
can just tell their stories, and hopefully the industry people are paying attention and look at it and go, okay, let's stop telling them what to do, and let's just rely on them to give us stuff that we can just adapt. Because that I believe, if you look back on the early Marvel movies, you look back on the early DC movies, even the early DC movies, that's what they totally relied on. So
Yeah. You could even go so far as to say that things like editorial pressure, continuity pressure, synergy, like you were just talking about with
mhm.
films, is kind of what birthed this Elseworlds to begin with, right? Because this is coming out roughly around the same time as Crisis, which was also a continuity breaking, like editorial, mandate kind of clean all this up kind of stuff. So I think that's super interesting. What I also think is super interesting is the idea that this is something that happens in every universe, right? You deal with the Batman and how Batman deals with the emergence or just the existence of a superpowered being like Superman, but do that in the 1800s.
Yeah,
They gotta be
yeah.
calling him a witch, all
Oh,
kinds of
all
stuff.
types.
Yeah, this has got to be. It's way different if like Batman sees that and takes a picture on his camera phone and then goes back to his, high tech, thing and
Mhm.
starts to break down all that stuff. But this guy's got like a quill,
Right.
a
Like,
stagecoach.
at least like in modern comics, you got Superman a crash landing, and at least we can use missiles, and we have we have a level of technology that can deal with a person like Superman. Like you said, now in this world, it's gonna be like, oh man, let me hop on my horse and
Yeah, I'll
get
be
the
right
heck out.
over. I'll
Yeah,
be right over.
talk about. But I am looking forward to seeing how they do this, and I have a feeling it's it's gonna be a tweaked, a toned down Superman. It's not gonna
Yeah,
be.
I can see
I
that.
don't, because I think they know, like, we can't just introduce basically Dr. Manhattan into this steampunk world of where people where people are still there. Is a telegraph even in existence in this world? Yeah.
Yeah, stop. He
You're
can
right.
fly. Stop. I also you gotta know that suit's gonna be pretty interesting. You gotta know that the Gotham by
Mm,
Gaslight Superman suit's gonna be pretty
that's true.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then when we Gotham by Gaslight, slash World's Finest, totally down, super down.
Nice.
Yeah.
So nice. All right, I'm looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it, and I know what I'm looking forward to is the official end of the Krakoan era of the X-Men, which I know it's kind of bittersweet for me because it started off here. I mean, way up here, and then it kind of went down, and then like Marvel figured out, hey, we got to kind of curtail all these books. We got to wrap it up nicely. We're gonna end it, and the two miniseries that helped end it all were the Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of X, or 10, however, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, yeah.
And now all of that will finally end in X-Men number 35, legacy numbering number 700.
Bonkers.
I'm very, very much looking forward to this book. I mean, yeah, number 700, amazing, right? The
Yeah.
talk about longevity, and a book that has gone through the ups and
I
downs
was about to say
itself. I
how many
mean,
number ones?
how many number ones? Eh, how many times faux cancellations and
Yeah.
changes of creative teams and changes of ideas. But now we get to see the end of Krakoa, and it's also going to set up what's to come. The whole From the Ashes era of the X-Men
Yes.
is to come. And what's great with this book is they got everybody to come back. They got Jerry Duggan, Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing, Chris Claremont, and Gail Simone,
Ooh.
Phil, all these writers to come back to help write this story. Whether you're getting a taste of some classic storytelling, you're getting the taste of, hey, these are the people who are ending their story, like Kieran Gillen and Jerry Duggan. But now you're also getting Gail Simone in here, who's gonna give you a taste of what's to come in her book. Because Gail
Yeah.
Simone's writing one of the From the Ashes book. I believe we have Jed McKay on one of the books, and I
I
apologize, I don't
yeah,
remember the
I
third.
was just thinking I'm thinking of that layout with
Like
the
that
three
right,
teams. Yeah, yeah, the
the three
three.
books. I mean, they haven't even fully announced. There's going to be like 8 X-Men books. They haven't even fully announced all those books either. But we are getting the end of the Age of Krakoa. For those of you who weren't into it, like even for me, like I said, I was totally in on it from the beginning. I kind of fell off in the middle, but they sucked me right back in the end. I'll be picking up this issue because I want to see how it ends and I want to see where it's going.
Eve Ewing.
E-viewing, appreciate that. Yes, and somebody who has been doing tons of solid work herself. So, yeah, I'm excited for those 3 books, along with seeing what else they're going to be announcing.
When it hits a landmark issue like that, it's all hands on deck. It's all love. It's all pure fanboy, but in the best way. Like it's the people who have grown up with this, whether they have been writing it for years or just getting, like you just said, like just getting on the book. Now it's gonna be a love letter to the entire franchise of X-Men. Even as you talk, like eh, Krakoa lasted about 5 years roughly, starting with House of
Hmm.
Powers and stuff. Considerable short time when you consider, like, I think Jason Aaron's Thor is like 10 years or something like that, or 8 or
Hit it?
some
No, I think it was like eight.
it's
Yeah.
some long extended amount of time. But anyway, like in such a short time, it has become a quintessential X-Men story in my eyes. It is something
Mhm.
that if I was to produce a next X-Men thing and we're tired of the mansion, like if we're tired of like the school and mutants all the future, Charles and all that kind of stuff, because we've gone to that world too many times, Krakoa is right there. And it's always right there. And not only does it create a really interesting plot point for all of our heroes as X-Men, but immediately confrontation with anybody else, right? With Avengers. Hey, what are you doing on that island by yourself? All that kind of stuff. So I love what Krakoa did for um the X-Men in general, and them being able to have like the swan song, I think is extremely important. I've heard the quality, ebb and flow. It's what happens when there's so
Mhm.
many books and so many writers and stuff. So I'm a bit trepidatious about the From the Ashes. era. I really dug House and Powers of X when that came out. It was super engaging to get into. Had to read a couple graphs and stuff, but past that,
Those
past
info
that,
those info pages were
the info
insane
pages,
sometimes.
man.
Like
Yeah, they
when you
were.
got to those pages, just like everything just slowed down, and you're just like, okay,
It
okay.
kind of made
How
me feel
many?
like I was a Nick Fury-esque character, right? Like I'm looking through files and stuff. Like I have the main story here, but I'm like, oh, really, really interesting stuff. And I'm on the mutant train as well. But I'm gonna combine a little bit of what you were talking about with OG X-Men and what we were talking about already with Synergy, because there's a new mutant on on these streets. As of just a couple of years ago, it has been decided that our
But
very own Kamala Khan is a mutant now.
she's an
Um,
inhuman.
she, I say all that to say that it's going to be one of those things you tell your kids, because the MCU is going to take the X-Men to a whole new heights, and if they're able to ever touch the
Yeah.
Krakoa stuff, they're going to be around for a very long time in a high-profile kind of way. And it's going to be hilarious when you tell your children about, like, did you know they try to like shelve them? They try to like put
All
all the
right.
X-Men on the shelf and bolster the the Inhumans, because they owned them. And Fox owned
Right.
the X-Men. So they quite literally came up with several books that killed people, killed whole scores of mutants, you know. Um, with such a wonky sort of time period, they were even making random characters into Inhumans, because they were trying to boister that team and boister that sort of name brand.
Yeah.
Now we're in
Mhm.
the complete reverse, where we're
Yeah.
taking an Inhuman, a very famous Inhuman, and turning her into a mutant, because that's the cool club now. It's cool to be a
That's right.
mutant now.
Yeah.
And finishing up her 4-issue series, Moist Marvel Mutant Menace, is Sabir Pirzadala. Sorry, Sabir Pirzada and Iman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, uh,
Yes.
is co-writing this series. The art is by Scott Godlewski, and it says, "Oh, the inhumanity! As Miss Marvel powers rebel against her, she turns to her OG super fam, the Inhumans. Medusa, Karnak, and everyone's favorite Lockjaw guest star in being a mutant continues to be no end of trouble to Jersey City's #1 daughter." So yeah, I just love like going back to the origins, going back to the beginnings of all this. Kind of, I guess, saying bye. She's gonna give a tearful farewell to her former Inhuman family. I want to see what Amon does with this. It's very unique when a an actor who's playing a comic book character is so invested in not only the production of their character on screen, but is dabbling with their character on
Yeah.
the page. It's extremely rare, and she does it with a level of excitement that makes you want to believe that she's doing some quality control with this stuff. And could you imagine, like, helping to pen the story you might act one day? Helping to write the story that you might, and being like, I remember when I said I wanted, I didn't want to say that line. I wanted to say this line or whatever. Now that's the iconic line. Um, so I want to see what Marvel's doing with her. I want to see what Iman is doing with her. And I want to see where she fits into this grand scheme, because she's a mutant now. And now that Krakoa is gone, what does that mean? Will she find herself on a team? Will she find herself in a team up? How's everybody else digging on Miss Marvel and her mutant powers? Not to mention, she's back from the freaking dead, people. so,
Yeah. Right.
so
Right.
there's a lot going on with my girl Miss Marvel. But yeah, I am looking
Tons.
forward to Miss Marvel Mutant Menace #4 of 4. The series is ending, but on June 5th, I'll be able to snatch up all those issues and read them in one go, as I am one to do on occasion.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited to see this also because it's something I've always been a fan of the Inhumans, and to
Mhm.
see them bringing back Medusa and Karnak, because as far as I was concerned, I thought all the Inhumans were killed.
Yeah,
They when Marvel was finally able to take the X-Men off the shelf, they realized they had to put the Inhumans back on the shelf,
yeah.
and they did so by literally killing what I thought was almost pretty every Inhuman, with the exception of like Lockjaw and I think maybe a couple other ones were here and there. I don't know if somehow Medusa and Karnak survived or they brought them back somehow. So
I'm
seeing these
vaguely remembering
characters,
a evil. What is it? An evil black bolt? Is that what
That's
Vox?
what yes, yes, that, yeah, he wasn't he looked like an evil Black Bolt, but he was a totally different character.
Okay, okay.
He was like, I believe, a Kree like bounty hunter or something like that they unleashed to say, hey, look, man, we got to finally just kill off our experiment. And I believe that's how it broke down.
Okay.
So to see Karnak is my favorite Inhuman. So to see him on the cover, see Medusa on the cover, I'm like, cool. You know, even if I hope that this doesn't lead, like you were saying, putting the toys back in the box, or completely saying goodbye to them. I hope this is Marvel's way of saying, hey, look, the Inhumans are still around. She's a mutant now, but she still acknowledges the fact that she has like an Inhuman origin. And by the way, the Inhumans are somewhere around, so maybe we'll see more of them, because I would like to see more of them. To me, Black Bolt is a great character. I love the Gorgon, Medusa, Karnak, that whole family, Triton. So I want to see them come back, and I also want to see this character keep getting the love I think she deserves. And I mean, she was definitely the high point of the Marvels movie. So to see her still there, and the fact that the actress is so into the character that she's writing it, so she can dictate how she's going in the books and use the books in the movies, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, and you got to think that she was also a high point of a very tumultuous time of character creation for Marvel when they were trying to put a bunch of new people in these monikers. Not all of them stuck,
Yeah.
but Miss Marvel definitely did. And just from hearing what you said, I just want to let people know who don't know, put some respect on Medusa's name. She should be a lot higher in people's minds when people think of female Marvel characters. When people,
Oh,
she's on the
definitely.
Fantastic Freaking Four, people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just fill in on one of the greatest super teams of all time if you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't sit on the side of one of the most dangerous men in the history, of the
That's
blue
right.
side of the moon, unless you know what you're talking about. So yeah, definitely want to see where this puts everybody. But what do you got for your number two?
Oh, and to follow that up, my number two is Ultimates number one.
Ooh.
Mm. Guys, the Ultimate Universe. Speaking of how Marvel's able to reinvigorate itself, they're like, just like DC's going into its Elseworld, back how do you say, backlog, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
There,
yeah.
Marvel has successfully brought back the Ultimate Universe, and it is excellent. The Ultimate Spider-Man is fantastic. Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men are killing it, and now we finally get the Ultimates back, as we going to be written by Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri, or Frigeri. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, but we finally get to see what's going on with the Iron Man character of the Ultimate Universe. Last we had seen, if you've been keeping track of Ultimate Spider-Man, was Iron Man had given Peter back the life he should have had. He gave him the spider, he gave him the suit, and said, hey, in 6 months, I'm gonna have a team ready to take down the Maker, aka the evil Reed Richards, who's hidden away because he's revamping himself. He's building up his army. He's getting ready to launch out, and he's given the world 6 months to get itself ready. And in those 6 months, Iron Man has gathered up a team, right? He's got Reed Richards slash Doctor Doom. He's found the Giant Man. He's got Thor. He's got Sif, and he's unthawed Captain America. He's getting himself ready, and now we finally get to see where that's all going to. And Dennis Camp, fantastic writer, guys. He wrote a great miniseries called Children of the Vault, which was part of the better parts of the end of the Krakoa age, as well as 20th Century Men, which was this awesome take on the military aspects
That
of
sounds familiar.
superhero warfare. Yeah, it was a great miniseries from, I believe Image published it, 20th Century Men, where what if the I forget who had the Iron Man, and somebody had like a Superman character, and that was basically the Cold War.
Oh,
Fantastic,
okay.
fantastic, fantastic book. Take just the way it presents war and how superpowers influence it, but at the same time, it's not. It's still a dirty thing. It's not some clean thing. The way comic books want to depict it. That miniseries, I highly recommend it, and I would love to eventually cover it on the channel.
Yeah.
But now he's got a chance to write this premier Ultimate Universe book, the Ultimates #1, the Avengers of the Ultimate Universe. I cannot wait to see what he does with these characters and how, because he's able to get really into the politics of things, but still make it action driven.
Right.
So now, like now, this is a book following on the heels of the unbelievably great, like I said, Ultimate Spider-Man. Black Panther's really ramping stuff up, and the slow burn of Ultimate X-Men is coming along. But now that all those books are getting into place, like I feel like Ultimates is just landing and landing hard, because I have a
Yeah.
feeling this is going to be action driven, but at the same time, going to have those feels of like clear and present danger, or like the Hunt for Red October,
Yeah.
because once they clash with the Maker, and whatever the Maker comes out with from where he's hidden away, it's, if you guys read the Ultimate Invasion arc, where it just the book that pretty much started all this, where it felt like a lot of nothing was happening and then it all just exploded. I have a feeling we're going to get the same thing out of this book over time. So I would highly recommend it. If you guys are on the Ultimate Universe, now's the time to really get into it if you're not into it already. And for those of us who have been reading it, whoo, here we go.
It's super interesting to me because in these books, they really play against your knowledge of what you know. Like they
Yep.
really, they really kind of have fun with what you believe you know of these characters, and kind of put them on different trajectories. We know eventually in Marvel Comics, OG, Spider-Man becomes an Avenger at one point. Does Ultimate Spider-Man want to be an Avenger? He has a wife and kids. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this is a different dude. You know, who on the Ultimate lineup are you most interested in kind of figuring out more about? Because I know we've only gotten bits and pieces of the trickle, of these characters. Is there anyone like you're like, really want to figure out what's going on with, so and so?
The two characters I'm still highly intrigued on this team is this Doctor. Everyone, right? You look at the picture, you go, "Oh, that's Doctor Doom," but it's not Doctor Doom. It's actually Reed Richards in the Doctor Doom armor. But we still don't know that for sure. We didn't see that,
He's
and
blue,
we don't
right?
know, huh?
Does he have
Does
blue?
the armor? Yeah, it's kind of bluish. It's kind of bluish, but
Yeah.
we've not seen the dude's face.
Right. Right.
So I'm still convinced, like, do we know this is Reed Richards? We were only told it's Reed Richards, and it's still Doctor Doom looking. So it's like, is this dude
Right.
gonna betray this team? What is this dude's ultimate
And
goal? But then
ultimate goal. Dun, dun, dun.
and the other character I'm intrigued with is this giant man, this Hank Pym. I've heard that they've been doing some very, very interesting things with this Hank Pym that has not been done. So those two characters, this Doctor Doom and this Hank Pym slash Giant Man, I want to see how they take them in different, like you said, different trajectories in this universe. Because the fact that you got Reed Richards rocking the Doctor Doom armor, that already is insane. And now we got this very different take on Giant Man. I'm here
Can this
for it.
be the one good Giant Man? Because the last Ultimate Giant Man was a bit of a jerk.
Was he? What did he do that was so
Just a little,
bad?
just a little bit. I
Listen,
just
man,
think
I don't know about you, but we live in Florida, man. When I
yeah.
see bugs, I want to spray them. You know what I
That's
mean?
oh my gosh, but that's true too. I just always think about him getting his ass whooped when he's butt ass naked
Oh,
by Captain
get
America.
big. Oof.
Absolutely. Oh, it's great. So yeah, I want to check that out too. Because again,
Yeah,
it the intrigue is on what you think you know, but what they're
right.
setting up for is going to be something that's going to take everybody by surprise.
Definitely.
Talk about
So what do you got?
surprises. Talk about surprises. I'm still on my X-Men kick. There's a big funeral going on over there at Krakoa. So my next pick is from writer Steve Fox and penciler Netho Diaz. Coming on June 12th is the first issue of the 4-issue miniseries X-Men: Heir of Apocalypse. The synopsis goes: for centuries, Apocalypse tested the mutants of Earth to guarantee that only the strong would survive. Now, as he takes his throne on Arakko, another must rise in his place and ensure the mutants of Earth do not grow weak in his absence. 12 mutants, chosen from the X-Men's greatest heroes and villains, will compete for the honor, but only one can become the heir of Apocalypse. I've heard one of the high points of this Krakoa era is this redemption for our boy in Sabanor. Hanging out with Charles, hanging out with Magneto. I think I saw him in a suit at one point.
Yes, I was literally about to. I was like, that man looked great in a suit.
He
That man looked
does.
great in a suit.
he cleans up well, but this idea of like who's it gonna be, who is the heir, I think is super interesting. I had it here. Yeah, so we're pulling from Armageddon Girl, Cable, Cypher, Emma Frost, Exodus, Forge, the Gorgon, Mr. Sinister, Wolverine, Richter, Penance, and Mirage. Now, just
And
looking at
make sure
that
you, I'm
list,
sorry, make sure you point out that it's Laura Wolverine, not Logan Wolverine.
yeah, sorry, yeah, it's
Mhm.
I don't want to call her by her experiment name, but yeah, it's Laura.
She's more than a number, damn it.
She is. But looking at this list, it's Cable, right? It's or is that or are they just playing with me? You don't think it's gonna be Cable? He's quite literally the heir of Apocalypse, isn't it? Or is it Sinister?
No,
You
he's
think
the
it's gonna be
he's
Sinister?
no, I don't think it's gonna be Sinister. If I honestly, if I were to put my money on a character here, I would say it's probably going to be I'd probably say Exodus.
Exodus.
I can see them elevating Exodus to that because Exodus has always been the ultimate follower. I mean, this is the guy who, you know, uh, was the John the Baptist to Magneto. You know what I mean? Like he just wanted to
Okay.
elevate Mag. So he's always been that perfect right hand man, and like an unbelievable Omega level mutant. So I could see them wanting to elevate his status by making him the next Apocalypse.
Quite interesting. Was it Exodus in 97?
He shows up. He makes like a cameo in the background. Yeah,
He's in the
yeah,
that he's in the I think he's on Genosha.
yes. I
When
think so
they're
too.
all
I think
like
he was.
when they're all dancing and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw his
I think he
moves, so
might.
they asked me, he could be there. I saw his moves. I approve.
As I say, he can do it. No, I mean, I like this story because it's a throwback to the 90s. There was a story in the 90s called the 12, where it was like, who are the 12 mutants and what is the deal with these 12 mutants? And it turned out that these 12 mutants were the 12 mutants that were gonna like power Apocalypse to his next body. And I believe one of them was supposed to be his body, but then Cyclops ended up sacrificing himself so that to make it so that that wouldn't happen. So
Interesting.
I feel so as much as this is now an elevation of Apocalypse, because yeah, Apocalypse has easily been one of the more interesting characters of the Cohen Age. When he was on Excalibur, to me that was a must read every month. So and then seeing what he did in Ten of Swords, of course, everything he did in the first House of X and Powers of Ten, fantastic. And I've not completed reading everything, but so for what he's doing in the final stuff of the Cocoon Age, Apocalypse is just killing it, and now he's going off to become the ruler of Araco, which
Hmm.
I'm hoping survives this whole thing because ter
It's the
terraform
last
terra
place less. The last place
well not
left.
terraform terra that issue of what was it? I believe was the Giant Size X-Men or the first Hellfire Gala issue where they terraform Mars. That was such an amazing event to see them do that, and I really liked all those Araco mutants. So now that
Yeah.
Apocalypse here Apocalypse, you get your own planet, you get your own people, enjoy it, and we get to keep you there until we want to have a nice story for you. And in the
Yeah, I'm
meantime,
sure
there
nothing
needs
will go wrong with
nah,
that. Not at
not at
all.
all. With a name like Apocalypse, what can go wrong?
Right,
And
right.
to see who's going to become this next Apocalypse and give this character the chance to elevate themselves and see what they do. Yeah, I'm excited for this. This is a nice way to end Apocalypse's story and to like not just end because as much as this is the aerial apocalypse, a lot of these characters that they're featuring in this are characters that were elevated during the Krakoan age. So you kind
Yeah,
of I hope we get to like see nice endings for their stories, because characters
right.
like Richter, Forge, even
Cypher was
Exodus,
huge. Cypher
Cypher,
spoke to the
yeah,
damn island.
that right. Without him, you couldn't speak. So all these characters had their big points during this age. So to see them in this miniseries get their final story and get their little send off, and hey, thanks for being such an important member of this era. I dig. So I can see myself jumping on this miniseries.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
So for me though, so as much as I love to give love to the Ultimate Universe, some
Uh-huh.
something. We forget the OGs, right? Right. We whenever we get
That's
something new,
true.
we sometimes forget the old. So, guys, my next pick, Amazing Spider-Man number 52 by Zeb Wells and Ed McGuinness. Now, the Zeb Wells run on Amazing Spider-Man, yeah, I'm with you guys. A lot of people probably groaning right now. What? Amazing Spider-Man? That book sucks. It has, like anything else, when a character's been around for this long and Amazing Spider-Man is now over 900 issues, you're gonna go through your ups and downs. You're gonna go through your ups and downs. But right now, we are definitely on an uptick with Amazing Spider-Man. We finally got, spoilers, the return of a certain cackling villain who is finally back to his, yeah, who's finally
Madcap.
back to, yeah, right. Definitely. Why'd you spoil it?
Sorry, I just
Darn it.
beaming with excitement on this end.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. So we got a return of that. We got the return of the Sinister Six, the Spider-Man universe in general, in the 616. Not, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man is fantastic, but the overall, the Spider-Man universe with Spider-Boy, Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, and even Amazing Spider-Man have been producing on a whole some great and exciting and creative stories. So now I feel with Zeb finally being able to tell what I believe his run has been leading up to, which is the return of this classic character, getting Doc Ock his due, getting that team back, and now having Ed McGuinness drawing the book. Guys, this book is only going to hit the heights, and the spoiler on the cover, and I guess I could spoil it because we've seen spoiler images,
Yeah.
even though the preview shadows it out. If you type in Amazing Spider-Man number 52 right now, you can see what it is. It's what appears to be some kind of spider goblin. What the heck is going on? Why has
Right.
this happened? What has occurred to our boy Peter to make him become his own version of the goblin? Is this something that was done to him, or is it something he's doing to himself, maybe in order to battle the Sinister Six and the return of a certain other villain? What's going on?
Interesting.
And the best thing about it is it's being drawn by Ed McGuinness. Ed McGuinness is an all-star artist. That you get this guy in a book, the book is immediately elevated. This guy had an amazing run on books like The Hulk, on Deadpool. You get Ed McGuinness on a book, and you're gonna get explosive action. You're gonna get highly detailed, facial expressions and just fists that just look like they're gonna burst out of the page. So seeing him do Spider-Man, which he's already done a few issues already, and now with him drawing the Sinister Six and these characters, guys, jump back on Amazing Spider-Man. Give this a chance. Give this a chance. I guarantee you won't be upset.
That's a hell of an endorsement, and I think you've put some pretty interesting breadcrumbs on the ground when you consider that with the goblin of it all, it could be, you know, it could be something that's been done to him against his will, very similar to like a Jokerized Batman. But I think what makes it compelling is that Peter Parker is one of the biggest Boy Scouts in comic book
Yeah,
history.
yeah,
And I think I kind of forgot that when I first saw the Goblin image. If whether it's being done to him or whether he feels like he needs to become a monster to fight the monsters of the world, it's not gonna be fun to watch. The squeaky clean Peter Parker and his attitude shifts, and it makes you think we haven't kind of had something like that since the symbiote. I mean, we had
right,
Superior, right? But that's a completely different Peter Parker. That's somebody else's mind inside Peter Parker's body.
right.
um but we might start getting some really uncharacteristic Peter Parker, and I just fear for anyone he cares about that's around him.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. No, so this is gonna lead to like you said, a lot of interesting new dynamics. See how he interacts with people. I really hope, just like with the Superior Spider-Man, this change lasts a while. Not maybe as long as Superior Spider-Man did, but I wouldn't mind this being around for say 4 or 5, maybe even 6 issues. I think
Yeah.
this could be a lot of fun. This could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could
Wh-
see a character like that get established. But Spider-Man has that fortuitous thing about it where sometimes a character that appears once can get an entire miniseries or pop up in an animated film. So who knows where the Spider Goblin stuff is gonna lead. You were talking
But speaking
about
of lead,
you were talking about how one creative can elevate a single title. And we got to give a shout out to friend of the show, the mighty, the uncanny, the downright astonishing Chris Claremont, who is finishing up his Wolverine Madripoor Knights run. The fifth issue of the 5-issue miniseries comes out on June 26th. Like I said, a legend Chris Claremont returns to the X-Men universe, and Edgar Salazar is doing the art there. It's promising a confrontation with Black Widow, Wolverine, Captain America, and this is in continuity. This is in universe for Wolverine. Um, I like Madripoor. I like Madripoor being this seedy kind of,
Yeah, yeah,
like
definitely.
just this weird section of town Tortuga, if you will, where
Yeah, right.
it just gets to do what it wants to do, and people kind of stay out on the outside of it. I really really like that idea, and Wolverine being a quintessential anti-hero in a lot of ways. Him having adventures there, the whole patch of it all, right?
Hmm.
I love this weird espionage Wolverine because he is blender. He's a weed whacker. So you don't really think of him and think of like espionage and spy stuff because he's a sledgehammer. He's not really a laser pointer. But on the right team with the right people, he can be just as deadly and just as dangerous. You got to think that Natasha's right there as well. And Chris Claremont writing these very classic characters. Like I said again, I don't know where you would. I guess you would start at the very beginning or whatever. But I implore anyone to read this man's work on X-Men. It is poetry. It is quintessential comic book reading. And so I'm very excited that the series is ending because I was waiting for it to end to actually begin it. But yeah, man, ready to go to Madripoor, ready to hang out with my homies.
No, I mean, Marvel has been making a killing on revisiting stories from 80s and the 90s lately. Whether they've done it a lot with Venom, going back to the Lethal Protector era. They did
Hmm.
it with oh, they're doing it another miniseries right now where they're revisiting the Green Goblin era from I believe the 70s. They're
Okay.
doing it with this, and they've done other ones. I apologize, I
And
can't think of
obviously
all.
Spider Boy, he's been around for Spider Boy's been
Yeah,
around for about 40
yeah.
years.
So the so yes, the idea of going back and visiting these stories that they figured out, hey, you know what? There's more to the story, or they purposely put something there to continue it, and no one either another writer never bothered to continue it, or the art that writer themselves, like Chris Claremont, just never got around to it. That you just said, you know what? I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna revisit it, and here he is. What is this, like 40 years, 50 years later, revisiting it? This all started in Uncanny X-Men number 268 with the classic
Yeesh.
cover. Right. And the story, it was just a one issue story, a one and done story. And from that story, it's little droplings of, something was supposed to happen with Black Widow or something like, I believe something like that, but they never got around to it. So now Chris Claremont gets to go back and continue that story, and we get it all culminating after 5 issues. So I like the ideas of being able to go back, because there are so many other stories that you read that just didn't finish, where it's just like, oh, this character, we think they died, but we know they survived, so where are they,
Where's the
you know
body? We don't see the body
exactly,
and they're
where's the
not
body,
dead.
or where that plot point go, where did this plot point go? So going back, being able to revisit these story arcs with the original writer, you can't ask for more. You can't ask for more, because especially since it's done in a miniseries. So if you're not into it, you don't need to buy it. But if it's something you've always wanted to go back and finish, here you go. Here you go. So I
Yeah.
I approve. I wholeheartedly approve of your pick, Don.
It's
Nice.
also it's also one of those things where we were just talking about, Gotham by Gaslight and people fitting into those shoes. We don't got to worry about that here.
Nope.
It is the create the not the creator, but this is the deft hand that ushered the X-Men into a whole new generation. Imagine if you were to hear that Alan Moore is coming on to do Doomsday Clock. Right? You'd be like, what? What's going on? He's coming back. Finish.
Woo!
I'm here to finish what I've started,
That's
and
right.
that's what my man Chris Claremont's here to do, and I can't wait for it. It's
Yeah.
so odd, and it's the beauty of comics. I guess I wouldn't even say odd, ironic that I have, um, you know, a story that's kind of about a branching mutant who just found out about their powers and where that's going to put them in the world. I have Heir of Apocalypse that's going to, it's an overarching story of everything that's come at a culmination of the Krakoa stuff. And then we go all the way to a story from the past, one of the high points in the X-Men's history with this Chris Claremont stuff. It just shows you how on all cylinders they're firing off right now with these X-Men. I also have to believe that it's due to the fact that we're due to see them quite soon. And so, Marvel in both comics and in studio are trying to get all their ducks in a row when it comes to the mutants, and it's an interesting thing to see.
Definitely, definitely. And not only are Marvel and DC cooking, but Image, quite possibly the only uh universe that's hotter to me than the Ultimate Universe right now is the Energon universe. Robert Kirkman, um, Daniel Warren Johnson, sorry, Josh Williamson, these guys are building this new G.I. Joe slash Transformers and Void Rivals universe. And it's not slowing down. Transformers continues to crank out awesomeness every month. The Cobra Commander and Duke miniseries have just finished. Void Rivals is if it's not a must read, it's a must read for me. I know a lot of people aren't getting into it, but it is becoming a must read even for other people because now they're starting to see who what we're getting more. We're getting more that universe is growing as well as we're getting more Transformers popping up in that universe. And now to keep that train going, leading us down the road to the eventual GI Joe relaunch in the Energon universe, we have Scarlet #1 brought to us by Kelly Thompson and Marco Ferrera, for Marco Ferrari. If you love those GI Joe characters already of Duke, and now you got Cobra Commander, you can't have Duke and not have Scarlet. So
Right?
now we're finally getting Scarlet and Duke. In the Duke book, we had Duke and we had Stalker as well as a few other classic GI Joe characters show up. Now in Scarlet, it's teased right on the cover. If you know that symbol on the cover, that bloodstain on the snow cover, that's on that cover, you know who else is coming because that is the symbol for Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes is Ninja Clan.
Yeesh.
I and so we're getting them. The solicitation blatantly says we're getting Jinx. If you remember, Jinx was another key member to GI Joe. So now we're gonna
Is that the
see
name of their clan, the Arashkagi?
the Arashkagi. There you go. Yes, I was. It just fell out of my head, but
It's not.
appreciate it.
I was
Thank
like,
you.
it's not a name that rolls off your tongue.
No, no, but I mean, if you know GI Joe, who doesn't love Snake Eyes, right?
Yeah,
The silent
badass.
assassin. You know he's a good dude. Storm Shadow, the ninja that'll kill you and not get a single ounce of blood on his beautiful white uniform.
Character designs, oh, gorgeous.
Yes, you know what I mean. So here we have now Scarlet getting her time, written by Kelly Thompson. So Kelly Thompson's an amazing writer. She's written tons of excellent books. She's written the Kate Bishop Hawkeye. She's written
I was about to say,
um
I was trying to think. I'm like, there was something I did read of hers and I couldn't remember. Yeah.
she's written Captain Marvel. She's written Jessica Jones, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She's a brilliant writer and she knows exactly how to make a female character blossom. She's especially an action driven character like Scarlet. Scarlet is not a princess. She's not the damsel in distress. She's someone that can take care of herself, and she's fantastic. She's a great character, and she doesn't end up with Duke. She ends up with Silent Guy. Okay, so if you want to see where because they haven't really talked about her much at all. They've been previewing a couple of her pages. This book looks like it's gonna kick ass. It's gonna fall right in line with everything else that's been going on. Because not only do we get Scarlet this month, we're also getting Destro by Dan Waters. But I was a little bit more excited to see more for the heroes, because
Right,
we're
right.
getting, you know what I mean? We had a Cobra Commander book. We had a taste of Destro in that. The Destro book also, I'm going to be buying that as well. But Scarlet with this team and the fact that we're getting Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes showing up in this book, guys, jump into the Energon universe. jump into it. We're only, I want to say, about 8 or 9 issues in, and you can find these back issues easily right now because they've been, I believe, some of these issues are up to their seventh or even eighth uh uh printings.
That's
So
amazing.
go into yes, I'm telling you about the Energon universe is just flaming hot right now. It's just scorching. So get on it. Get on this Energon universe. Jump on Scarlet, jump on Duke, pick up the Transformers trades, pick up the Void Rivals trades. You're not gonna be upset with yourself. It's the hottest universe in comics right now.
It makes a lot of sense that they got Kelly Thompson. I'm just looking at her resume here: Black Widow, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Birds of Prey, Captain Marvel, Jessica Jones. Um, but interestingly enough, one of the things she's known the most for is Sabrina and also Gem and the Holograms, which are
Gem and the holograms.
also
That's right.
classic, right? Classic 80s
Hmm.
characters that she was able to give depth to. And sometimes it is just that. Sometimes it is just a writer or creative choosing to add a bit more depth to a person, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it's the wrestling idea that everybody on that card, somebody is somebody's favorite wrestler. Like even the guy on the bottom of the card is somebody's favorite wrestler. And when you look at all these characters, Scarlett's somebody's favorite GI Joe character, and she may have
Definitely.
not gotten her just due in a situation like this. And now, this could be the definitive story. This could be what people point to and have been hoping for and been waiting for. I'm glad that they're taking this gamble, but it seems to be a sure bet. Like initially, on the face of it, I was very like, and you're gonna put them together, like I was very confused as to where this can go. You're talking about very beloved franchises, and I guess if we let
Mhm.
Michael Bay touch them, we should we should let other people.
That's right. That's right. Because if Michael Bay, look what he did with it. As successful as he made it, those first few movies, Robert Kirkman and what him and his team are doing in that universe. Oof. Talk about hopefully the movie industry looking at the comic books and taking that with what they're building because the movies are building towards this. I
Mhm.
really hope they take from this and learn. Like, okay, hey Rob, you somehow have turned your zombie comic book into eight shows that are doing quite well enough that they're still producing episodes. Give us some of these Energon universe ideas to use in the eventual GI Joe Transformers movies because this is right here.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can handle Optimus with PTSD, bro. That's gonna. You got the helicopters going on in the background and stuff like that. Not again.
That's that's how I know you haven't been reading it because we do have Optimus with PTSD,
No, that's
and
what I'm
it's
saying. No, that's
awesome.
what I'm saying. I said
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get them to do it in the movie. That might break my heart. Like I've seen
Oh,
it now
oh,
on the page, so I don't know if I
yeah.
can handle seeing it in the movies because I saw it on the
Oh
page and
man,
I was like, "That's
it, it,
heavy.
it hits. It
That's
hits.
heavy."
It
You
hits you.
know,
The
or you could
heart
have
of
a
a
bunch of
giant
metal
machine.
balls swinging around John Turturro.
Oh
Same thing. Same. No,
no,
no.
not at all. Not at all. Don't even do that ever again. Don't. I'll hang this up. I'll hang up right now.
One of the best things about this preview series is going to be seeing the cog call his shot in the Energon universe repeatedly, only to watch it flourish, and him being able to dance on the pile and tell everybody, "I told you so." And I'll say, man, he called his shot, and it's only getting better from what I hear. So a hell of a pick. I got beef. All right. Um, because my last pick is
You just ended that sentence, and I was like, I guess we're fighting. Like, what's good?
yeah, no, no. No, it's me and you against other people. Because my favorite number is 13. I was born on May 13th, and Green Arrow 13 is coming out on June 25th. And Green Arrow, man of the people, rich guy, but a guy who is known for his more left-leaning politics and being a more of a street level character, is now an agent of Amanda Waller. What is going on? What is going on? It says Roy and the rest of the Green Arrow family want to know why Green Arrow would betray his family and friends and choose to work with Amanda Waller and her deadly plans for the heroes and villains of the DC universe. Now, while I obviously want to know what Ollie's up to, why he would even choose to be in cahoots with somebody like the Wall, Amanda Waller, I also know, very similar to Captain America, this is not a man you want on the bad side. This Ali, with all his skill and all his aim, all his arrows, is not somebody you want working for the wrong side of the team. Um, it's a betrayal on multiple fronts. He's like big business. It kind of reminds me of when they had that really shitty Green Arrow join the JSA or whatever. Remember like the Hawkeye Green Arrow in the New 52? He had like the Oakleys and the sleeveless
Yes,
vest or whatever.
yes,
And
yes,
so
yes,
yeah, the
yes,
Ryan Seacrest Green Arrow, and
yes. He was
I
too
think he
damn
was
pretty.
I think he was working for Amanda Waller as well, and he was just kind of like a
Was he?
douche. He was just
Okay.
like a snarky. They were trying to make him Hawkeye. He was a snarky kind of douche character. Um,
Hmm.
but I gotta believe. I'm trying to trust. I'm trying to trust in my man Ali. I gotta believe he hasn't completely sold out. But where do you sit on this? Do you think they got something against the man? Is he just seeing the light of the wall, or does he have something else up his quiver?
Well, Ali has never really trusted the ultra powerful heroes. He has never really trusted them. I mean, you go you, if you've never read much Green Arrow, hopefully you've at least read Dark Knight Returns, and you see how Ali felt about Superman. My man
Yeah.
was quick to be like, "Yo, Bruce, you need me to throw this kryptonite arrow at him? I got you. Even
So you
even
got
if I
one
gotta
arm.
hang, right? I got one arm, and I'm hanging off of a fire escape or a helicopter. I got your back
You know
because
what you gotta
I'm
hate a
not
man to
with
do that? You know you gotta hate a man a lot to do that. He
a
probably practiced that shot. He's like, one day,
one day.
one
I'm
day.
gonna do this. That's it. Ali, why don't you use two arms? Nah, what if I
No,
only
don't
got
worry about
one?
it. Yeah, only got
Okay.
one. Isn't it implying that
But
Superman took that arm? Or am I mixing my metaphors here, or mixing my stories here?
I honestly don't recall, but maybe he did. Maybe
Okay.
that's why he was all happy to hop on there. Son of a bitch took my arm. I'll take your life.
Yeah.
But no, the buildup right now there's House of Brainiac, which is leading into absolute power, where it just seems like the big heroes are just losing control, right? I believe you got like a cyborg Batman running around, you know, cleaning house. You got Brainiac, which was looking like he's probably going to do something to take over Superman somehow.
Hmm.
Wonder Woman is going on her own Tom King quest, and she's doing God knows what. So in the meantime, Amanda Waller has been building up her team to check the big guns, and so I can totally see why Ali would jump on her side to look at it and go, okay, as much as I don't like her, I can't put the world in the hands of these big heroes like this right now because he's already. I mean, how many crisis and craziness have we seen the last bunch of years? And I believe the last what was the last big DC event? The one that led to this last reboot. I can't remember what it was.
I'll find out for you.
Yeah, but it was that event that led to Ollie being where he's at right now, where I believe he wakes up. I think he woke up on like another planet, or was that? I'm trying to remember how we got to this point with this character, but he's seeing how okay, the big heroes we can't trust them, so maybe we need to go a different route. Maybe we do need to now put our trust in Amanda Waller because Amanda Waller, as much as she wants control of things, I don't think she wants she's not like Doctor Doom. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she's not as bad as, in my opinion, as what Lex Luthor could possibly do. So I
Right.
believe he's just seeing it like, okay, these guys keep dropping the ball. Look at all the pandemonium they're causing, whereas she's trying to just put things in controlling and put her own brand of safety on things. So I can see why he would jump on this side of things. So I'm this is an interesting story. And look, talk about good writers, right? Joshua Williamson is writing it
Ah.
and makes perfect sense. That's a guy who's been killing it over again. What's that universe I was mentioning? Oh, the Energon universe. He's killing it over there. He's killing it on Green Arrow. This
And the
this might be
artist
the
is Amanke Nahulpan.
yeah. I went to high school with him.
Did
Yeah.
you?
No.
Rose off the tongue. Um, Titans Beast World, I believe, is what predates this because it predates House of
It does.
Brainiac.
It does, but it's the one before that because like
The next thing I have is
there was
Gotham War, Night Terrors, Lazarus Planet. But it
Never
says
thought of that.
absolute power is in response to the events of Beast World. It says in
Yes.
response to the events of Beast
Yes.
World, Amanda Waller and
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad joined forces with Failsafe and the Brainiac Queen, beginning a campaign to capture every metahuman ability around the world. So it's about to go down, and she's got my boy Ali in cahoots. Like you said, constantly distrusting the heroes. Uh, did she sell him a bill of goods about the? She's always about the ends justifying the means, but you got to get to the end first, right?
That's right. That's right.
So you can say, yeah, all that was worth it. And a lot of times she gets caught holding the, holding the barrel because things don't work out too well, and she can't really
No.
gloat on her premonitions and stuff. But yeah, really cool person because, like you said again, she's shown compassion on occasion. Her ruthlessness is for the mission. It's not necessarily to be ruthless. She doesn't have a bloodlust. She doesn't, she's only been seen as conniving in the sense that she's willing to throw people under the bus for the greater good, the greater good. So
Yeah.
we'll
But
see.
we can talk. I can totally see that. Look, as he's playing her and also trying to keep the people safe from what's going on with the heroes, he can have his own agenda. I can totally see that. Like, okay, I'm going to use her. I'm going to use this because it's Ali, and
He
when was the last
doesn't
time
trust
Ali was on the
anybody.
team?
Yeah, but he
Right,
doesn't
he doesn't
trust
trust anybody.
anybody. I was just thinking about that.
We haven't had Green Arrow on a team in a long time.
Yeah, and I also wonder
So this
how
is
Pretty Bird feels about this new situation. Black
I don't
Canary may
know.
not be too happy
Black
with her new
Canary.
job. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see. It will definitely be interesting. But will it be as interesting as my number one dime? Because
That's an excellent
guys,
accent.
guys, I'm talking about the new Drew McIntyre. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Oh, Drew.
kidding. Damn you, punk! Damn you! It's my
Drew.
book. Drew. No, we are talking, guys, about Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. Brought to you by Jason Aaron and Paolo Matura and Francesco Diapolito. I don't. These are a whole bunch
Yeah.
of Italian names. I'm digging it. I'm loving it. Where are these guys all coming from? I'm
It's
hearing
a
a lot of
Renaissance
Italian
era,
names.
baby. It's Renaissance era.
Apparently, we need some Donatello, some Raphael. We need all that stuff. But
Venus de
guys,
Milo.
we are jumping into a Disney, a bona fide. This is a Disney book that's
Yeah.
being done through Marvel, which is something that hasn't been done in quite some time because a lot of the Disney stuff has been getting outsourced to like IDW and Dynamite and
Yeah.
all these other publishers. But now Marvel says we're going to publish a Disney book, and the cover looks gorgeous. It's done by Alex Ross,
It does.
and
think
when I
about
first
think about that though. They call Alex Ross and they're like, yeah, so Scrooge.
and he was like,
he's like, yeah, Christmas Carol. They're like, no,
no,
McDuck.
right, and he's like, say less. Dun, 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 dun,
No,
dun, dun,
now
dun, dun. Life
and now
is like a hurricane.
he's got one of his friends to do like the reference. He's
Oh.
bought him a duck suit. He's bought him
Yo,
a duck suit.
put on
He's like,
put on this bill. Put on this bill. I'm gonna hang you real quick.
Right.
You
I
look,
just need a reference, bro.
and pretend like you're about to swim in money.
Think more
Like-
duck. Like more duck.
More duck. That's right. That's right. One quack. Give me one quack. One quack.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited for. I mean, and then you put Jason Aaron on this
Yes.
book. I'm
Mhm.
like, to me,
Almost
this
too
book was,
serious. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, like and so when I see this creative team, I see this cover, and I hear the pitch is we're getting like a Scrooge McDuck, Scrooge
Thanos
McDuck
Quest?
verse.
Oh,
You know, he's going to be teaming up with other Scrooge McDucks to get back his number one dime because somebody has stolen that precious dime. If you were a fan of DuckTales, whether you were a fan of DuckTales back in the late 80s, early 90s, or you're a fan of the newest DuckTales, which is fantastic. Don't let anyone tell you that they killed my childhood. Those 3 seasons of the DuckTales that came out just a few years ago, fantastic.
I heard it
And
was really good.
I will even say this: it's better than the original. So how you like that? But you have to check out that series. And this, guys, this is a one shot. This is going to just be this fun. It's going to be a oversized book. I believe it's going to be $7.99. but it's going to be a Jason Aaron story, and we're going to jump into a fun DuckTales world, right? I'm hoping we get
Yeah.
some Launchpad McQuack. I'm hoping we get Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Maybe even get a Gizmo Duck, right? And we're going to see Scrooge traveling a la Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, going through all these different universes, teaming up with other Scrooges to find his number one dime and figure out who the hell took it. Was it Magica again? Was it
I
Flintheart Glumgold? Who was it?
I I I know who it is. Do you want to know who it is?
No, I don't.
I'm telling you, you want to know who it is. It's
I
not someone
don't.
you would. It's not someone you would know. I'm telling you. Marvel's told us what it is. Who it is.
Is it Thanos?
No, no, no. It is. I mean, it's quite apropos of this kind of story. It's a twisted alternate Scrooge. And that alternate Scrooge is trying to become the all powerful and incomprehensibly rich Scrooge above all.
It's brilliant.
I knew
It's
you would dig.
brilliant.
That's why I told you had to know. I knew you would dig that. I'm looking at
There's
this Scrooge above all.
I mean, there. I guess on one of the covers, I guess you see the Scrooge above all on it.
Mhm.
I should have seen that coming, but in the original, you know me, I like to experience things as they happen, so I try to
Yeah.
avoid spoilers. In the original preview, it doesn't. It just says gets stolen by a shocking culprit, and I was like, ooh, who's the
Ah.
shocking culprit? But you with your
Which cover are you
blasted it,
looking at?
uh, it's it's. Hey guys, want to preview?
Hey, right?
Uh, that cover.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wonder if that other guy's the Scrooge above all.
Yeah, it probably is.
There's another
But
cover that is by Gabriel Delato, and it
Gabriel
has like
Delta, yeah.
it looks like a sling ring portal behind him.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's gorgeous.
so
That's nice. That's
that's
nice.
also very interesting when you talk about this multiversal stuff, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They have a they have a cover by Lorenzo Pastrovicchio. They have a cover by Alex Ross. They have a cover by John Romita Jr. They have a cover by Pete Momoko. They have a cover by J. Scott Campbell. They have a cover by Walter Simonson. They are going all out. And as you said, this is their first foray into what's going to be seemingly a bunch of Disney books. So it'd be very interesting to see what comes out of this. But yeah, this is, I mean, now it's a collector's item, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
This is Marvel officially diving into that Disney universe because we've only gotten like covers, maybe some reprints, but to put Jason Aaron on this one-shot book that's kind of gonna test the water, so to speak. But I guarantee it's gonna give us a hell of a memorable story that I hope they even eventually animate because this looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. And even if you're not even into this, the fact that they're giving you that, like I said, that because everybody nowadays loves the multiverse. So now we're getting a multiverse in the Disney DuckTales world. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
It's too easy. You can easily probably animate this into a nice little half hour, 45 minute, hour long episode or something. So I cannot wait for this. When they originally announced this, I thought this was going to be a series, and I was
Yeah.
I was like, I put it on my pull list, and then my guy was like, it's a one shot, man. I'm like, what? One issue? Come on. Hopefully, it leads to something.
It's, I wouldn't have predicted you pick that pick, is what I will say, firstly. And it is your only single issue in this. So it has to do a lot in one issue.
Yep.
But I mean, they've done less in 15 minutes. Or they've done more in 15 minutes, right? Like that's what
Hey,
these characters are known to do.
We saw what Jonathan Hickman did in that one shot of Doctor Doom.
Yep.
Why can't Jason Aaron do the same for our boy Scrooge McDuck?
Scrooge McDuck. Oh man, and like I said, it's gonna be he's gonna open the portal. It's gonna be Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Like I said, Launchpad McQuack, Darkwing Duck's gonna pop his ass in there. Maybe some of those
I am
Tailspin
the
characters.
terror that flaps in the multiverse.
I dig it, bro. You're gonna have that Avengers music swelling as people are coming through their
That's
portals.
right.
That's gonna be so good. But Yeah, I think that concludes this episode of previews. What an exciting time to be a comic fan, and so many good, great titles. As we're continuing to do this preview series, we're also actively covering movies and television shows and comic book runs as part of the Major Issues podcast, which comes out every single Thursday. These come out monthly, but the podcast comes out weekly. So if you like our banter in these conversations, go and check that out. The last episode that the COG was on, we got to dissect 1994's Fantastic Four. So yeah, man, we sometimes got to remember the dark times to remember the beautiful times that we're dealing with right now, coming up with some of these stories that we've been reading. So go check out all the things that we do as part of Comic Book Click. Go to comicbookclick.com, go to our TeePublic store, go to patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse. For as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us keep our lights on here and afford the hardware and the software we need to keep producing content like this absolutely free of charge. This is a labor of love, but if you guys can help us out in any way, that's also, we'd love that as well. So check out all the recommendations that we've recommended. Go to your local comic book shops, not only to see the plethora of stories that you could just find yourself jumping into, but some of the coolest people, some of the people that really know about the industry and the ups and downs. They'll laugh with you, they'll cry with you, and they'll be the best friends that you've ever had. So go ahead, visit your local comic book shop, hang out with other comic book readers, and join us each and every month covering all things latest and greatest to come to comic books. But my name is George Serrano, aka The Don.
And I'm Alex Garcia, aka The Cog. And guys, happy Pride Month.
Happy
stuff.
Pride Month. And thank
That's
you
right.
again for joining us for major previews. But never forget that you, yes, you, are worthy. See you guys.